Today's topic is about comparing quantities. First, we will see the quantities that we deal with while buying or selling, or in other words, the quantities that will bring a profit or loss to us as the customers or to the shopkeeper. So we start with something basic. There is a shopkeeper. He goes and buys a table for 5,000 rupees. He wants a profit out of it. He wants to sell this table for 8,000. So he wants this 5,000 back, and then he wants a 3,000 extra. So now how is he going to sell something which is worth 5,000 for 8,000? So what does he do? He puts up something called the marked price. In flashing lights and in bold font, he puts up something called the marked price, and he says that this table is actually worth 10,000, and because it is a special occasion, Christmas or Eid or Diwali or whatever, so it is a special occasion, so I am giving you a discount. I am giving you a discount of 2,000 rupees, which means you just have to pay me 8,000 rupees. So look at the customer, he is happy. He is thinking that I am buying something which is worth 10,000 for just 8,000. So the customer is happy, the shopkeeper is also happy, he has got his profit. This brings us to our first formula. What is discount? It is the marked price minus the selling price. Coming to the compared quantities, there are a lot of things you hear. You hear cost price and marked price and selling price and discount and profit. It all sounds complicated, but then they all follow the same logic. If you understand what the logic is, you will understand this topic like the back of your hand. The logic is very simple. You will always have an amount you start with, and there will be an amount you end with. There will be an initial amount, there will be a final amount, and there will be the difference between them. So the difference you can get by subtracting whichever is smaller from whichever is bigger. And then the percentage, that also follows the same logic. Whether it is profit percentage, loss percentage, that also follows the same logic. What is that? In the numerator, the difference will come. In the denominator, the original value, the value that you started with, that will come into 100. Everything follows the same logic. Profit percentage, increase percentage, decrease percentage, same logic. Initial value, final value, difference. Then difference by the initial value into 100. Here what is it? 2,000 by 10,000, that would be 1 by 5. 1 by 5 into 100 would be. So this is the formula. This is how you find the discount percentage. But what is its definition? Always remember, discount is always connected to the marked price. So if the marked price is 100, discount is 20. That is what this means. It is all in the name. Discount per cent. Cent is 100. So that means discount per 100 rupees. Or in other words, if the marked price is 100, there is a discount of 20. That means your sale price is only 80. But then the marked price is not 100. It is what? It is 10,000. So how many hundreds are there? Just cover these last two zeros. You will see that it has 100 hundreds. So therefore, 100 20s. That would be 2,000. Subtract this. Your sale price will be 8,000. See, this is exactly what you get here. So either you can do it by mental mathematics or you can use the formula. So this is how discount works. Now, as I said, this is the same formula by which the profit and the loss all works. Now, what is this marked price and discount? This is what affects us as a customer. But what affects the shopkeeper? That will be the profit and the loss. We will see that also. Now, the shopkeeper does not need to worry about the marked price. This is for us customers, for us to think that we have saved money. But what actually affects the shopkeeper? It is the cost price and the selling price. So consider two conditions. In both the cases, the cost price is same, but in one, he was able to sell it for 8,000. But in the other, what happened? He was able to sell it for only 2,000. So in one case, it is a profit, and in other case, it is a loss. And as I said, they all follow the same rule. What is the profit? A starting value, an ending value. Their difference here is called profit. What is their difference? Their difference is 3,000. And what is profit per cent? Remember what I said? The formula just follows one simple logic. What is it? The difference between the two, which is the profit, and the initial value you started with, which is the cost price, into 100. That means 3,000 by 5,000, which is 3 by 5 into 100, you will get 60%. What does that mean? Whenever the cost price is 100, he makes a profit of 60 rupees. That means he sells it for 160. But 100 is not the cost price. How many hundreds are there? 50 hundreds are there. So, for each one of them, he makes 3,000 profit, or in other words, he sells it for 8,000. See, that is what we got here. Loss. Again, same logic. One final value, one initial value. But here what do you see? This one is greater. Whichever is greater, you just adjust your formula according to this. Loss would be here what? It would be cost price minus selling price. That would be again 3,000. And what is the loss per cent? Again, the difference between the two by the original value, the value that you start with, into 100. So that would be what? It would again be, it will come to the same thing. But here what is the difference? Which means per 100 rupees of the cost price, the money that he lost is 60. That means his sale price was just 40. So, but then how many hundreds do you have? You have 50 hundreds. So that means how much did he lose? He lost 3,000 rupees. Or in other words, his sale price is just 2,000. You have different concepts. You have the discount, and you have profit, and you have loss, but they all follow the same logic. Initial value, a final value, then their difference. Then the percentage of their difference will be the difference by the initial value into 100. So the initial values are different for different things. So here for discount, it starts with the marked price. Discount is always connected to the marked price, which affects us as customers. But then profit and loss are for the shopkeeper, because it is attached to CP. What the cost price, in addition to these three, you also have the increase and the decrease. That is when due to some reason, maybe because of tax, or maybe because there are not enough items left, so sometimes the price is increased. Or suppose there is nobody to buy that product, there is some bad news going about the product, then they will decrease the price. That will also have a percentage. There will be an old price and there will be a new price. Sometimes they will have to decrease the value, sometimes they will have to increase the value, but the logic is same. Whichever is greater, you subtract the smaller one from it. Then what? Increase percentage is what? Increase by old price into 100. What will be decrease percentage? It will be decrease by old price into 100. So you have 5 different quantities, but all following the same rule. An initial value, a final value, a difference, and the percentage of the difference. And in this you will see a certain kind of question. You see these formulas, all of them have 3 unknowns. So if there are 3 unknowns in a formula, then you should know the values of at least 2 of them. Only then you can substitute and find the third one. But then there is a certain kind of question where you will not know the discount, you will not know the marked price, but instead you will know only the sale price. But the final price, the sale price, is of no use to us, because the sale price does not come anywhere in the formula. So what are we going to do with sale price? That is a certain kind of question, and we will just try to solve that. I will just stick to this one equation and try to solve that. Now the question is, discount percentage is given as 10% and the selling price is given as 18,000. What is the discount and what is the marked price? What do I do now? I cannot apply the formula. Why? Because the formula has three unknowns. So what do I apply? I apply the definition. What is the definition of discount? Discount is always related to the marked price. So if the marked price is 100, what is the discount percent? For every 100 rupees of the marked price, the discount is 10. That means the selling price is 10 less, which is just 90. Then that is not the selling price. The selling price is given as 18,000. So what will be the marked price? Just cross multiply. Then what do you get? X is equal to 18,000 into 100 by 90. So this will be your answer. Now we will learn two terms, overhead charges and sales tax. One which affects the cost price, the other one which affects the selling price. First we will see what overhead charges is. Suppose there is a shopkeeper. He got a table for say 5,000 rupees. So this is the cost price. But then after he got the table, he sees that the paint has worn off. Now he has to repaint it and that costs him 250 rupees. So now what is his cost price actually? He started with 5,000 but now his actual cost price is 5,250. So the cost price has increased. So this actually affects the seller and this gives a new cost price. What is sales tax? This is something which affects the selling price. In suppose you go to a supermarket, you will often see this. The price tag says something, but when you go to pay the money in the counter, you will get an extra charge. Sometimes the cost price will say 360, but then it will be written 25% sales tax. And when you go to the counter to pay the money, you will actually have a new selling price and they will say it is 450 rupees. Why is that? Where did this 450 come from? This is what comes from the sales tax. Sales tax is something that the buyer, that we have to pay to the government. And how does it work? 25%, and always remember, percent is always percentage of something. So this 25% is actually 25% of the selling price. And all these percentage problems, they follow a same logic. It will be X percentage of Y is Z. This is a sentence in English. Translating it to maths, you will get X by 100 into Y is equal to Z. Percentage means divided by 100. Of means multiplied by is equal to. So that is exactly what happens here. 25% of SP. What is that? Whenever you see 25%, remember all you have to do is divide this number by 4. Similarly, whenever you hear 10%, what is it? You actually have to divide the number by 10. And whenever you hear 50%, what is 50%? It is 50 by 100, or in other words, you have to find the half of a number. Though it is percentage, what is it actually? It is just fractions, because 25 by 100 is actually what? 1 by 4. So all you have to do is take the SP, take the selling price, divide it by 4, and then what will you get? You will get 90. So 90 rupees is the sales tax you pay for this item of 360 rupees. So you take the selling price. You don't just give that. To that selling price, you add this 90. You add this 25%. and you give the shopkeeper, you give him 450 rupees. And this sales tax goes by many names, GST, VAT, but the logic is same. It is just like Shakespeare said, what is in a name? That which we call a rose by any other name smells as sweet. So sales tax is also same. You call it by any other name, it is a headache. What does it do? It actually gives you a higher selling price. So instead of 360, you are paying 450. Whatever name you call it, it is a headache because you have to pay more amount for the same quantity. Now this brings us to the end of this topic. What was it about? It was about buying and selling. So all the quantities that deal with buying and selling, and all the formulas in it have a same logic. What is it? You will start with an original value or an initial value, then you will have a final value, and whatever is the difference, that is what matters. That difference goes by many names: discount, profit, increase, decrease, but the logic is same. There is an initial value, a original value, a final value. Find their difference, and the percentage of the difference will always be difference by the value that you have started with into 100. And this difference, for example, if you take discount, discount will be discount percentage of what? The marked price. And profit will be the profit percentage of what? The cost price. And increase will be what? Increase percentage of what? The original price. So these two quantities may differ, the name of the difference may differ, but the logic is same. So we come to the end of this particular topic. We go on to banking. From buying and selling, we go on to withdrawing and depositing money in a bank. Suppose you go to a bank and deposit 5,000 rupees. Then after a certain amount of time, say for example 4 years, when you go to take that money back, the amount that you get will not be same. It will be more. For example, it will be, say, be 6,000. Then you see the difference here, the 1,000 rupees, that is called interest. Interest is of two kinds. There is simple interest and there is compound interest. And this transaction is not just for depositing money. It is for any transaction. Whether you borrow money from the bank or you deposit money in the bank, the logic is same. There will be an amount you start with and there will be an amount you end with. And this will clearly be greater. So the amount you start with is called the principal and it is denoted by the letter P. And the amount that you end with is called the amount and it is denoted by the letter A. Now this interest, what does it depend on? It depends on three things. Something which is called the time period, something which is called the rate of interest, and something which is called the principal. We already know what the principal is. The principal is 5,000. And the rate of interest for this, let the rate of interest be 5%. So you remember what I said? Percentage just does not come on its own. It has to be percentage of something. So this percentage, rate percentage, is the percentage of the principal. And what does that mean? It is in the name itself. It is percent. That means for every 100 rupees in the principal, you will get 5 rupees extra. So that will be your interest here. Your interest will be that extra money that you get. What is that? For every 100, you will get 5 rupees extra. But then 100 is not your principal. What is your principal? Your principal is actually 5,000. So what happens? You actually get 250. That is your interest in 1 year. So if the rate of interest is 5%, at the end of 1 year you will get 250 extra and your new amount will be what? 5,250. This is at the end of the first year. Now suppose you don't want to take the money back in the first year. Let it be there for 1 more year. Then what happens? The principal remains the same, but then the interest adds up. you get a 5%. For every 100 you have extra 5. So you have 50 hundreds, so you are going to get 250 extra. So how much is that? Again, for the third year also, you don't want to withdraw the money. The principal remains the same, but then you are getting a 250 again. And then what happens in the fourth year? Again, principal remains the same, but you are getting a 250 extra. So you see what has happened here? You started with a 5,000, but you ended with a 6,000. Where is that 1,000 dirhams from? The 1,000 rupees from? That difference is called the interest. That is called the simple interest. And the simple interest, it depends on three quantities. It depends on the time period that you have put your money. It depends on the rate. And it depends on the principal, and the formula of simple interest is principal into rate into time. And as usual, amount is what? What is the amount? The amount will be the principal you started with plus the simple interest. Okay, so this is simple interest. It is simple. What happens in the compound interest? In the first year, the compound interest also behaves the same way. I go and put this 5,000 in a bank. But this time, the first time I put it for simple interest. The next time, let me put it for compound interest and let me see what happens. So, the principal, it's pretty much the same things you have to worry about. Right? At the end of the first year, how much money have I put? I have put 5,000. So at the end of the first year, how much interest will I get? I will get 25, no, 5% was our rate, right? So 5% was our rate. So 5% of 5,000 is what? 5 by 100 into 5,000, and that we found to be 250. So the amount at the end of the first year, I will get this much. If I withdraw money at the end of the first year, my simple interest and compound interest both are same. But then what happens at the end of the second year? At the second year, the principal changes. This amount now becomes the principal. So what is the new interest? Interest is R percentage of P. You see that sentence in English translated to maths. What do you get? 5 by 100 into 5250, and that answer would be 262.5, right? And that would be 505 on 12.5. So you see the difference here. At the end of the first year, you are only getting 5,500, but in compound interest you are getting 12 rupees 50 paise more. So I know it seems very small, but then we are dealing with 5,000. When people actually put money in the bank, they deal with hundreds and thousands of rupees. They deal with in some cases it even goes to millions. So you see why this is a problem. You see why interest is a problem. So you don't know why people are borrowing money. Maybe there is a family emergency. Probably somebody is ill, or maybe because they want to spend on the education of the children. So when they borrow an amount, at the end of 2 years or 3 years, the amount just exponentially increases. So they have to pay many times more. So I know you all don't deal with money, you are just children, but please remember what Sigmund Freud said: show me the child, I will show you the man. So whatever habits you pick up now, it will stay for a lifetime. So please remember, never go for loans, never get into debt. Always try to manage with the money you have. In case of emergency, there is nothing we can do. If there is an emergency, we have to borrow, and let us hope that such situations don't rise. But then taking loans to buy a house, or to buy a bigger car, or to go on a holiday, that is really, that will get into trouble, because you will be paying that exponentially more. You will be paying back much more than you actually took the loan from the bank. So always try to live within what your income is. So do not stretch more than your income. We are coming back to maths. What happens to the third in the third year? Again the principal changes. Now this amount is the new principal. And what will be the new interest? The new interest will be 275 point something. Why is that? 5% of 551.2. So this again changes. It becomes 275.6, and that would be 5778 point something. So then it goes on increasing. Every year it keeps on increasing. So simple interest, it increases this way. It increases in a very simple manner. And compound interest, it increases in a very exponential way. It just keeps on increasing. So using this, we found what is the formula for simple interest. In terms of compound interest, your amount will be principal into 1 plus r by 100 raised to n, where n is the number of years that you have put the money for. Here the number of years is 3, right? Raised to 3. And what is your p? Your p here is 5000. And what is your r? Your r here is 5 by 100. 5 by 100 is 1 by 20, right? So 1 by 20. So this will give you the amount, not the compound interest. This will give you the amount. What will be the compound interest? The compound interest will be the final amount, which is your amount minus the principal that you started with. This will give you the compound interest. Now, in the compound interest, there is one more thing I would like to add. There is something called the conversion rate. Now, let us see. Now we come to something called the conversion period. What is the conversion period? It is that period when the amount becomes the next principal. So that time when it changes is called the conversion period. Here we have taken the conversion period to be annual. Only at the end of 1 year your principal changes to the previous amount. What if this was not the case? What if it is compounded, say, half yearly? Half yearly means what? At the end of every 6 months, what happens? Your principal changes. It changes to the previous amount. Then how does it affect the time period? How does it affect the rate? The principal, of course, that won't change. That is what the whole thing is about. The change of the principal depends on the previous amount. But how does the rate and the time period change? You will be interested to know that they change in inverse ways. The time will be doubled and the rate will be halved. Why is that? Let us see. Here what happens? At the end of the first year, the amount changes. But then if we calculate at the end of the first 6 months, the amount will change once. And then at the other 6 months, it will change again. The third, here this will be the third 6 months. The amount will again change to the principal, again a 4, again a 5, again a 6. So in 3 years, there are 6 months. So what happens to the time period? What happens to this? Instead of calculating it just 3 times, instead of your principal changing just 3 times, your principal actually changes 6 times. So therefore, what happens? The time period, instead of t, you get 2 times t. How does it change the rate? What is the rate? For 1 year, the rate is 5%. But then we are not calculating for 1 year. We are just calculating for half an year. So for half an year, rate will be 5 by 2%. So how does the rate change? The rate changes to rate by 2, or in other words, rate changes to rate by 200. So you see the difference here. The time is doubled and the rate is halved. Start solving the CBSE exemplar questions. I have given the link in the description box below. Please check it out. What is the first question? In the first question, you have the same principal, you have the same rate of interest, and you have the same time period, but then you have to calculate what is the difference between the compound interest and the simple interest. Which one is higher? So what do we have? All the three are equal. So randomly let us give it a value. Now rate of interest, what do you calculate it for? It is rate per cent of the principal. For every 100 rupees in the principal, what is the rate? That is what we calculate, right? So let us take P as 100 itself. That helps things, right? So let the rate be 5%, and remember, for T, take more than 2. Why not 1? Because see, the rate of interest is same for the compound interest and the simple interest. So when the rate is same for 1 year, both compound interest and simple interest are same. You will get the same value for both. There will not be any difference. So if the rate is different, then the values will be different. But for the same rate, do not take T is equal to 1. Take T is equal to 2. Then what is the simple interest? It is principal into R by 100 into T. Now what is 5 by 100? It is just the fraction 1 by 20. So divide 100 by 20, you get what? 5. 5 into 2, 10. So your simple interest is 10. What is the compound interest? Remember, we do not have the formula for compound interest. What we have is for the amount at the end of 2 years. That is what we have. And what is that? That is principal into 1 plus R by 100 raised to T, which is 2. So what is your principal? It is 100. What is your R by 100? It is 5 by 100, which is just 1 by 20. So 1 plus 1 by 20 would be 21 by 20, the whole square, and 10.25. But remember, this is just the amount. What is the compound interest? The compound interest would be what? Any interest, not just compound interest, any interest. Simple interest, it has the same formula. What is it? Amount minus principal. This is same for both compound interest and simple interest. And what is that? This minus 100 gives you 10.25. What do we have here? The compound interest is greater than the simple interest for the same rate and for the same time. And why is that? Because you will see that is how the formula works. Because in simple interest you have the same principal, but in the compound interest what is happening? Your principal is keeping on increasing at every conversion rate. So therefore the compound interest will always be greater. Our second question is about a certain principal which doubles at the end of 2 years. What do you mean by the principal doubles? Which means now the amount is 2p. This is for a different rate for compound interest and a different rate for simple interest. Suppose for the simple interest the rate is R, and for the compound interest the rate is capital R. Now what we have is that at the end of 2 years both of this is same. How will that be? They are saying if that is the condition, which of these two will be greater? Will the rate for the simple interest be greater or the compound interest be greater? Now we know that the compound interest, the value that you get is always high. Why is that? Because the principal keeps on changing. But now what do we have? In spite of the principal changing, we have that the simple interest and the compound interest are same at the end of 2 years. What does this mean? This means that the simple interest, the rate of the simple interest is so high that in spite of having a higher principal, the compound interest is still less. So that means this simple interest rate is too high. So your correct option here is, I think it is B. The answer is B. Your R is less than small r. So this brings us to our third question. Principal is given, it is 50,000, and rate is given, it is 4%. The time period is given, it is 2 years, and it is given that it is compounded annually. Then what is the compound interest in this? So that is what we have to find out. We start with always the amount. What is the amount? It is principal into 1 plus R by 100 into 2. So what will this be? 50,000 into 4 by 100 is just 1 by 25, and so this would be 26 by 25 the whole square. Now 5, this is just 200s, like 100 you cut here, you get a 4, 100 you cut here, you get a 4. So this becomes 5 into 16 into 26 square. Fourth question is, marked price is 1200, discount is 12%, then what is the selling price? So discount is always, how do you calculate the discount percentage? It is always discount percentage of MP, or in other words, you know, you translate it into max. What do you get? 12 by 100 into 1200. Cut 12 into 12, 144. So this is your discount. Now we go on to the next question. The fifth question says 90% of X is 315. Then what is X? 90 by 100 into X is equal to 315. So that means X is equal to 315 into 10 by 9, and that would be 350. This is your fifth question. What is your sixth question? To gain a 25% profit. So there is a shopkeeper. He is starting with 360 rupees. He wants a profit of 25%. What does that mean? He just does not want this 360 back. He wants 25% of this 360 extra. So what is 25%? It is just 1 by 4. So divide this by 1 by 4. So he wants 90 rupees extra. So he wants a profit of 90 rupees. But he has started with 360. So what is the amount he is looking for? He is looking for 450. But the question is, how does he convince the customer to buy something which is worth 360 for 450? So what does he put? He puts up some marked price, and he says, I am giving you a discount 10%. So now tell me, how much marked price should he put? So you know the definition for the discount percentage. Discount percentage is discount by marked price, but you don't know the discount, you don't know the marked price. Selling price is of absolutely no value for us. You cannot substitute it in the formula. But then what can you do? You can substitute in the definition. And what is the definition? The discount is always discount percent of the marked price. That means if the marked price is 100, the discount is 10. That means the selling price is 90. But then here our selling price is not 90. Our selling price is 450. Then what should be the marked price? Then cross multiply. What do you get? Your marked price will be 450 into 100 divided by 90. That would be 500. So for this marked price, he can make a profit of 25%. Everybody is happy. What is the customer thinking? The customer is thinking, I saved 10%. And what did he get? He got a 25% increase. So this brings us to the seventh question. What is the seventh question? If A percentage is the discount marked on a marked price of X, this is the discount percentage and this is the marked price, then what is the discount? What is the discount? Discount is always discount percentage of marked price. It is in English, translated into maths. This is what you get, and your correct answer is C. So this is our question. The person has taken a loan of 100,000 rupees, and after a certain amount of time it has become 112,360. Now the thing is that it is being calculated for every 6 months. Then what is the time period? So let the time period be, say, T. Then how will your formula for A look like? It will be 1 plus what? It is for every 6 months. So in 1 year there are 2 6 months. So your T will become double and R will become half. So your T will become 2 times T, because in 1 year there are 2 conversion rates. So this will become double and rate will become half. Right? This becomes your formula. So A is 12360. Now this is multiplied by, this is P multiplied by this. When solving the equation we transpose it to this side, then it becomes divided by 1 plus 12 divided by 2 into 100, that would be 3 by 50 raised to 2t. So this becomes 53 by 50. Get the equation and try to arrive at an answer with minimum calculation. How do you do that? Both the numerator and the denominator end with 0. So dividing throughout with 10, you get this becomes your new fraction. Now look at the ending two numbers, 2 digits. This ends with 36 and this ends with 00, which means applying the divisibility test for 4. Both the numerator and the denominator are divisible by 4. Now 25 into 4 will give you 100. So therefore this is your denominator, and your numerator would be 2 carry over 2, that would be. So this will be a numerator, this will be a denominator. Look at the denominator, it is 2500. Look at this place, what is the denominator here? It will be in terms of 50. So what do you have here? What you have here is actually 50 square. So what if we are able to prove that this is 53 square? Will it work that way? What are the only two numbers whose square will end with 9? That will be what? 3 and 7. So there is chance that 53 into 53 will give you this number. So make the calculation and you will see that it is 53 square. So what do you have here? 53 by 50, the whole square is equal to 53 by 50 raised to 2t. So your base is same. So equating the exponents, you get 2 is equal to 2t, which means t is equal to 1. This question says that you have to calculate interest for the same principal, but when it is compounded half yearly, then how does the rate change and how does the time change? So what happens when it is half yearly? The rate of interest becomes half and the t becomes double. If you look at the options, your correct option I think is D. What is the next question? It is about a person who got a scooter. She saw that the selling price was 36,450, but then when she went to pay the money at the counter, what did she see? That there is a sales tax. She has to pay 9% extra. So 9% of what? 9% of the selling price. So that would be 9 by 100 into 36450. But then remember, this is just the extra money she has to pay. What is the original money that she has to pay? That is 36,450. This is the total money that she has to pay. Remember, you can do it in many ways. I am just doing it the way which will make minimum calculations. So you have 36,450 common, take it out, 9 by 100 plus 1, that is equal to 36,450 into, this will be what? 109 by 100. And what is that? 1.09. So just multiply it by 1.09, you get the answer, and that answer is 39730.5. So So she actually had to pay only 36,000 something, but she ended up paying 39,000 something. Brings us to the 11th question. There was a commodity, it was marked 80, but it was sold for 76. So what is the discount percentage? What is the discount? It is 4 rupees. What is the discount percentage? It is discount by the original value into 100. That means it is 5%. It is sold at a discount of 5%. This brings us to our 12th question. What is the 12th question about? It is a person A who got a tape recorder for 8,000 rupees. Then he went and sold it to B for 20%. So B also wanted to sell it to C. He also sold it for 20%. Now the question is, how much profit did these two people make and who got a higher profit? Now what is the profits that he made? He made 20% of 8,000. 20% is just another way of saying divide this number by 5. So when you divide this number by 5, what do you get? So this is your profit. So this is how much profits that A made. Now he sold it to B. B also made 20%, but then B's 20% is of what? It is from this. It is just another way of saying divide this by 6. So there you go. So that is 0 to. So you see, both of them made profit. Both of them made 20% profit. But why is his profit more? Because look at the numbers. He's got 1/5 of only 8,000. But he has got 1/5 of 9,600. So this brings us to our 13th question. There is a person who got a teapot for 120 rupees and cups for 400 rupees, and she sold it to somebody, and then while selling the teapot she made 5% profit. What does 5% profit mean? That means 5% of 120. Translate it into max. Then what do you get? So her profit is just 6 rupees. So she got it for 120. Then she just made 6 rupees profit. Then how much is her sale price? It is 126. She got the cost price plus the profit. Now what about her selling the cups? She got it for 400. But then she sold it with a loss. So you have to minus. So what is 5% of 400? That would be 4 into 2 is 20. So her loss would be 20. Her cost price is 400. She did not get 400 back. She did not get the money she spent on the cups. She lost 20 rupees. That means she got only this much. Our answer is how much money did she make out of the transaction, which is this. 14th question is about somebody who got a jacket for 1,200 rupees but he actually got it on a discount. He actually got it 20% less. So how much money did he save? What was the mark price? So you remember the formula for discount percentage? It is discount by marked price. Selling price is of absolutely no use to us. We cannot use it in the formula, but then what can you use? You can use it in the definition. What is discount percentage? When the marked price is 100, the discount is 20. That means the sale price he just has to pay 80, but the sale price is actually this. Then what is the marked price? Cross multiply. Your marked price would be your marked price is going to be 1400. So this is your marked price. So the price was actually marked at 1,400. but then he got it for just 1,120. So 15th question is, what happens if instead of being calculated annually, the compound interest is calculated for every 3 months? Then how does it affect the rate? Then how many times does the rate of interest is it calculated again and again? So in 1 year, how many 3 months are there? There are 4 3 months, because there are 12 months. So if you divide it into 3, in the first year you will calculate the rate 4 times. In the second year you will again calculate it 4 times. So totally you will calculate it 8 times. So that means your formula for the amount, the final amount, usually it looks like this, right? But then what happens to the time? In time also, in 1 year it is calculated 4 times. So in 2 years it is calculated how many times? 2 into 4, 8 times. What is the 16th question about? So somebody got a washing machine. Its final price was 13,500. This was after the tax was levied. So what was the original price? Surely it was not 13,500. It was much less. So it was something, they put the tax on it, now it has become this much. How will you find the original price? So how do you know that? In the final price is of no use to us. If you want to apply the formula, you want the original price. But if you don't have the original price, what do? You apply the definition. What is the definition of tax? For every 100 rupees of the old price, you have to pay 8 rupees extra. So then your final price will be 108 for every 100 rupees of the original price. So if the original price what is 100, the final price you have to pay 108. But what is the final price? It is this. So the original price would be, cross multiply, your original price would be, what do you notice about these two numbers? Both are divisible by 9. So you have 12 here and you have 1,500. Again, both are divisible by 3. So you get 4 and you get so your original price was just 12,500, but then he ended up paying 13,500. Our 17th question is about a person who got an iron box for 900 rupees, sold it at 10% profit. Then he got another iron box and sold it at 5% loss. So obviously he's got nothing better to do. He's just buying and selling iron boxes. But that is not the question. The question is, what is the selling price? How much did he sell it for and how much money did he get? So here the cost price is 900 and the profit is 10%. So that means for every 100 in the CP, he got 9 rupees extra. So totally how many hundreds are here? There are 9 hundreds. So therefore for each 100, if he got 10 rupees, then for total he got a profit of 90. So the final price he sold it for 990. You can use the formula also. Of 900 is equal to, what does that mean? Multiply. So your profit is 90. Add it to the cost price. This is how much he got. What about the second one? For every 100, he lost 5 rupees. So there are 1200. So that means what? He lost 12 into 5, which is 60. He lost 60 rupees. So that means how much did he get? So this is how much he got. You can do it in a formula wise also. You can do it as mental mathematics or you can do it in formula. This is his loss. This is his loss. Then what is the selling price? Selling price is cost price minus loss. And so the final answer is what? So this is the amount of money that he got. But what is the question? The question is, what is the difference between the total money he spent and the final amount that he had in his hand? So he had a profit of 90 and he had a loss of 60. So therefore what did he have? Plus 90, which is the profit, minus 60, which is the loss. So the profit is plus 30 rupees. What a waste of time, right? Now, what about the 18th question? So there is some, I don't know what it is, let me check, a TV set. So there is a TV set. We don't know what its original price was, but when the person went to pay the bill, they said that there is a 5% tax and he had to pay 26,250. The question is, what is the original price? Now, from the formula, you cannot find the original price. Then what do? Apply the definition. What is the definition for the original price? For every 100, he has to pay 5 rupees extra. So his selling price would be 105. But the selling price is actually this. So what will be the original price? Cross multiply. Your original price would be, and what do the numbers look like? Again, I think they will be both by 5 and 3. So if you see, they are both divisible by 5 and they are divisible by 3. That means they are both divisible by 15. So divide both of this by 15. That should give you the answer. So dividing it by 15, you got this. Then again, you can divide it by 7 also. So you will get 250 into this 100. So that will give you 25,000. So it was actually 25,000, but he ended up paying 26,250 because of the sales tax. So our question, which is the 19th question, is about this equation. Always deal with the brackets first. What is 20% of 300? 20% of anything is just 1 by 5. So what is 1 by 5 of 300? Divide 300 by 5, then you get 60. So 100 minus 60, which is what? 40. Now what is 40% of 40? So how do we do that in maths? There you do this, and then the answer is 16. So now our next question is about a person who got a car for this much price, 250,000 rupees. But very bad timing. As soon as she bought it, the next year itself the price came down. How much did the price come down? It is 10% of what she got. That means for every 100, she lost 10 rupees. So totally how many hundreds are here, you see? So how many rupees did she lose? She lost 25,000. So 50,000 minus 25,000 would be 225,000. So at the end of the first year, this much was what her car was worth. So it was 250,000, but it is only worth 225,000. What happened in the next year? Further bad news. Further, for every 100, now she has lost 12 rupees. In the decrease, but that is not the question. What is the decrease percentage? For the decrease percentage, what do we always take? We take the amount that we started with. So this into 100. So she lost 20.8% of money. So the decrease percentage is 20.8%. So with this we come to the end of the step problems. Next is filling the blanks, and inshallah we will do that in the next class. Till I meet you, you stay safe. Assalamu alaikum.